See you there. Welcome to Stealing Focus Lane.
God blimey, guys.
Stealing Focus!
Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm Emily. This is Jeff.
Hey, guys.
And this is Janelle.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Mary Poppins Returns. So there's a lot of hype around this movie. It's a big deal. It's a beloved classic for decades and decades and decades. And they decided to make a sequel.
Terrible idea and such a good movie.
Oh.
It should not have turned out as good as it did.
Yeah.
And I've already warned Emily I'm going to be useless today because I'm just going to sit here and tell you how much I loved it over and over again.
I was thinking the same thing.
We loved it.
It was so good. It was really, really
You know, we were ready. We were
we had
ready.
the pitchforks ready.
We were ready to be up on our high horses and to just, grumble. But I think it's a worthy successor. You know, it has the DNA of the original, but it's definitely a new story.
Yeah.
There's parallels to be made, and we'll talk about that.
And there was just wonderful performances,
Oh.
just a great script. I was very impressed. It was, as you mentioned, it was one of the films that you cannot mess up. If you mess it up,
it would have been bad.
I don't know what would happen. Maybe the earth would explode or something, but they didn't. Rob Marshall killed it.
I was skeptical and for like the first 20 minutes, because actually I went back and watched the original Mary Poppins, and the first 20 minutes this is a little slow too.
It's a slow build, yeah.
So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, it's not bad. Okay, it's kind of charming. And then the moment she appears, floating down with her umbrella.
Yeah.
Oh, and from that moment on, this was me.
Okay, so I was skeptical too because in her first scene with the Banks adults, formerly children, they do,
As most adults are.
they drop in a lot of references to the original, and I was kind of like, oh, is this what the whole movie is going to be like? But I feel like they had to get it out of the way in that first scene so that you're not hung up the whole movie. So like she says like, Michael, don't be a codfish. Oh, Jane inclined to giggle.
Yeah.
She sees her reflection. The reflection. She rides up the band. It's all the stuff she does. Like
It was
kind
so
of in
cool
the
how
movie.
that just kind of happened in the background of that shot.
Yeah.
Really
By the way,
fun
that all
shot.
went completely over my head. I didn't even realize it was callbacks. To
Oh
the
yeah,
original.
it's all they're all callbacks to the original.
And Ben Whishaw, is it? Whishaw?
Oh, so lovely. Yeah.
And
plays Michael.
Emily Mortimer, both great.
I love Emily Mortimer,
Yeah, they're
and
both
something
fantastic.
I loved about this was the sort of the Dick Van Dyke character is
Yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda in this movie,
Yep.
and he's not playing Bert, he's
No.
playing like a protege.
Bert's
of Bert.
protege.
Yeah, and I love that his love interest isn't Mary Poppins because that's an impossible love.
Yeah.
But it's Jane.
It's Jane.
Yeah, which is adorable.
And can we talk about how this is Lin-Manuel Miranda's first film?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It feels crazy because
Yeah.
he's been in the zeitgeist for so long, but
in the
he's
theaters, I guess, but the nation at large and internationally, maybe they don't. Most people don't know.
I
who he is the way
mean,
that we
so
do.
but the
shocking
thing
to me.
is, yeah, it's true. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like, he got this because he's so well known in the theater community. Because Hamilton, obviously, so many things. Also, he did the soundtrack to Moana.
Yes.
So he's definitely been involved with films before, but he's not involved in the music at all, except
Right.
as a performer
That's right.
in this film. And he's,
so lovely and charming and adorable.
he's perfect. He's got a little twinkle in his eye, and he's not rolling his eyes at it or winking like, look at how silly this is. He's just 100% earnest.
Yep.
And you have to be.
You have to be. Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of cool to a film of this magnitude. You have to nail about 15 things. Just get them perfectly, and he was one of those things. He was the perfect actor person to play this role. Perfect timing, just the exact right, like you said, twinkle in his eye. The feel for what the story was. He lived in that world. He's perfectly believable and awesome.
It's hard to be nice and earnest and not corny. It's something that, like, this is a strange comparison, but it's what makes Chris Evans such a good Captain America.
Yeah.
'Cause it'd be so easy to be like,
Yeah, like it's
Like a cheese
that
ball.
earnest quality.
Yeah.
You either you have it or you don't. And I guess that leads us to the title character, Mary Poppins.
oh.
Emily Blunt is
No one else could play this part.
nobody.
No
I
one
can't think of a
else.
single other movie star who's around because it's gonna you have to have a movie star. We're not gonna have some unknown playing it.
Right.
This isn't.
Introducing.
Yeah, even though Julie Andrews was you know, a newbie when she did.
I think that's the only way to go is either have a total newbie
That's true. Or yeah.
But there was a different time when obviously when Mary Poppins came out, it was what, 64?
Something like that.
So like, yeah, these days for a major Hollywood blockbuster film, you have to have a.
And for something like this, Lin-Manuel was almost the chance they took.
Yeah, he's the ingenue.
Yeah. But Emily Blunt is amazing. You know, they don't try to make her Julie Andrews. She doesn't try to be. She's her own interpretation. They write these songs in her range, and she sounds great. And this is her, second or third collaboration with Rob Marshall?
Second. She did Into the Woods, and he wanted her for 9.
Right.
She said she didn't go in for 9 because she thought it was dancey.
Oh, okay, so we have to say that we actually went to a Q&A. So we got to see and meet Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Rob Marshall.
No big deal.
Well, yeah, this was we got to see an advanced screening on the Fox lot, which was a thrill. We even the garage that we parked in had Julie Andrews
on it.
Because
Sound of Music, Julie Andrews, but still. Yeah,
it was perfect.
Yeah, so we got to get, we got some really great insights.
Well, and Emily talked to Emily Blunt afterwards and told her that she needs to do more musicals, and she said, "Yeah, dude, don't." Oh, yeah.
She did. She does.
It wasn't very good accent,
and I got in trouble for saying, and I might get in trouble for saying this again, I think Emily Blunt actually is a better Mary Poppins than Julie Andrews.
Oh, you are in so much trouble.
No, I just
not
think
with me,
nails
but
that.
She has an edge to her.
Yes, she's stern but playful. She's more the Mary Poppins I picture from the books, where frankly in the book she's kind of a bitch.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just that Julie Andrews has always been Mary Poppins.
Yeah, no, Julie Andrews is amazing and perfect.
But if you think of what P.L. Travers intended by the book in the books, I do agree that
she's
Emily
still
Blunt
nicer.
has a little bit more edge.
She's still nicer than the version in the books. The version in the books is like a total gaslighter. There's actually a little of that in the movie where the kids are saying like, "We did this," and Mary
she's
Poppins
like,
"I don't know what you mean."
What nonsense. Yeah.
But what can she say?
She does that in the original a little bit too, though. She definitely does. But yeah, Emily Blunt is phenomenal.
Perfect.
There's no one else. Rob Marshall said it too. Like, there's no one else who could have done it, and I tend to agree. And
it's something that I thought initially, 2 years ago when we heard about this casting, or maybe almost 2 years ago.
It was like,
it rang true throughout, and throughout the entire movie, her command of the character, the things that she made fresh, the things that like she could be stern about, but also the things that there was just joy underneath.
Yes.
Yeah.
What an amazing performance!
I literally would love to hear suggestions for who else could have played this part because I can't think of anyone.
You know who else couldn't? Rob Marshall was telling us that he couldn't think of anyone else either. So
she's amazing, and I love where she's singing in this. It's written. It's written to her strengths. She's doing a lot more belting, a lot more mezzo-soprano-y stuff. They're not trying to have her in the rafters or anything. And, she's really fantastic. And that leads me to the score because I don't think... I didn't think it would be possible for a modern musical score to be written that sounds like this. Because this does sound... A, like the Sherman Brothers, and B, like from the golden age of musicals. It really does. It has all these elements to it that you don't really see in musical theater anymore.
Sorry, Jeff has to return a text.
Sorry. Anyway, you see all these things that you don't see in modern musicals anymore. Like, for example, in the covers, not the book, they do a lot of like, let me tell you a story about a family member of mine, and then my family member taught me a lesson. That is so Irving Berlin or Cole Porter.
It's a little Harold Hill.
Yeah,
I know that's not the name of the
the patter.
Yeah.
So they can't have Lin-Manuel Miranda do rap because that wouldn't be in the context of the story. So the closest they get is they give him this patter sequence, which is fantastic, and he's just going really, really super fast and very, it was very like Sondheim-y. But just and the score was written by Mark Shaman.
Yeah, genius.
And hopefully he has a brother, so we can say the Shaman brothers.
No, it's Shaman and Whitman. So the score was written by Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, and Mark Shaman has a very extensive catalog of things he's written for. His biggest Broadway musical is Hairspray, by far. Yeah. But he's also written the soundtracks to a lot of movies, like just looking like on Wikipedia, Addams Family and Addams Family Values, which means he wrote the Happy Turkey Day song, which
classic,
genius.
Ooh, City Slickers.
Beaches, When Harry Met Sally, Sister Act, come on, South Park.
He did the songs for South Park too, which are very musical theater style.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of what this felt like. Like, the songs really do feel like they're from the universe of Mary Poppins. And if you know anything about the Sherman Brothers, you know, they wrote...
Didn't they hate each other?
Oh, yeah, they hated each other. There's this amazing documentary called The Boys. If you can watch it, watch it. It's really good. It's all about their...
It was produced by their sons who never even knew each other. They were cousins, and they never hung out in their lives.
But they, for whatever reason, they were able to channel that into, like, some of the best songs ever. Like, one of the things they were, like, brilliant at was, like, coming up with, like, nonsense words, like supercalifragilistic, you know, and et cetera, ... So I think that Shaman and Whitman do a fantastic job of channeling that. The score, not just the songs itself, but the scoring is
beautiful. Everything is beautiful. The costumes, the music.
And the scoring is super effective when they integrate themes from the original film. Like, there's a part... like in the third act where Michael's like kind of feeling down and he's talking to Mary Poppins and saying he's at his low point, and then you just hear the theme of Papa Banks from the original The Life I Lead. It's like da 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 da,
and that's a perfect use of scoring.
And then you're just like, oh god, he's become his dad. Like, it's so effective.
Yeah, and the brilliance of music in general is to be able to evoke emotion without using words. And that's where scoring is just perfect, when you can just put in a melody line, just push it in there, and everyone feels it. You might not even realize.
No, you might not even know why, because these things are flying past me unconsciously.
But yeah,
what other cast people?
Well, the look of the... I wanted to talk a little bit about the look of the film.
Yeah.
Those costumes.
Artistic design. So the production designer, Emily, actually sat next to this guy.
Oh, that's right.
In the theater.
No, we didn't know.
We didn't know who he was, but we knew he was somebody because the seat was saved.
Yeah.
And it's John Meyer, who's done a number of other films. Did Chicago. He did Memoirs of a Geisha, Dreamgirls. He did 9. So he's worked with
Rob Marshall a lot.
You know, and that happens a lot. But their collaboration on this was brilliant because of kind of what you said. The film had to live in the same universe as the original.
Yeah.
We haven't been back there since the early '60s, and you can't get it wrong.
He created a world in a bowl, and that was beautiful.
And the costumes in the bowl, because they're like painted.
Yeah, and the costumes overall are amazing.
The costumes by Sandy Powell are amazing. There's a scene when they go into the bowl where it's these really nice dresses, but they're painted.
Yeah, they look like they're part of the bowl, and they have the same perspectives as the bowl. It's incredible. And the costumes overall, like even when they're just in the normal world, they're amazing. Mary Poppins' look is fantastic.
Amazing.
The red gloves and her hat.
Again, I have nothing to contribute except I love this movie so much.
Yeah, we love it.
So much.
There's a lot of great supporting roles. Meryl Streep basically fills the Ed Wynn role. She's basically Uncle Albert. She's cousin Topsy. So, you know, another like random relative that we go to.
I'm going to commit heresy twice because I already said that I liked Emily Blunt more than Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Didn't love Meryl Streep.
I mean, she was kind of just, she was there. It could have been played by anyone, but, you know, Rob Marshall, you know, if you can get Meryl Streep, why not get Meryl Streep?
I want to see it again because the songs went by so quickly for me. I don't think I had time to really digest them.
Yeah.
And maybe I will like that number more.
Yeah, maybe. And then we also had Colin Firth as like kind of the antagonist. And what I liked, which they did not do in the original because there really wasn't there wasn't like a villain in the original Mary Poppins. There is a villain in this, I would say, or an antagonist anyway. And anyway, he is represented as a wolf when they're inside the bowl, and he's Colin Firth's voice, and so it's some foreshadowing. So it's a really neat connection, you know, to tie to something that's happening in the real world.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, I'd never seen anything like that going into the bowl.
Yeah.
Either just conceptually in any film that I've ever seen, I just never thought of that before, but it was such an inventive thing and so well done. And one of the questions that we had that was answered in the talkback was it was all hand-drawn animation. So it was...
I was so worried it was going to be computer animation made to look like hand-drawn, but Rob Marshall confirmed it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Hand-drawn, and it shows it looks like the animation from the original Mary Poppins from that 60s era of Disney films, that kind of sketchy, like you can kind of see the lines.
Yeah.
And the idea of them riding around on the bowl was just crazy.
Amazing.
It was really inventive. Yeah, totally. I agree. I can't say I've seen that.
Can you tell me, since you've probably seen it more recently, I don't know if there were any actors of color in the original Mary Poppins.
Oh, no.
And it is so refreshing to see one of Colin Firth's henchmen. Also Lin-Manuel Miranda, obviously.
Oh, yeah, they made way more of an effort.
Oh.
Even like all the...
They made an effort.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, even like the Learys, you know, the lamplighters, there were a bunch of people of color in the group there.
Yeah.
We got some cameos. You get an Angela Lansbury and a Dick Van Dyke.
Oh,
which like
so lovely.
Yeah, when you can get him, why not?
You can barely understand what Dick Van Dyke is saying because I love him, but he's quite old.
I think he's 92 or 3.
And Angela Lansbury, there's no reason for her, but she's Angela Lansbury, so you're
he's
kind
not
of
too old to throw shade at Piers Morgan though online.
Dick Van Dyke's birthday was just a few days ago, like a week ago.
Right.
So he was how old?
So he was born in 1925, so he is 93.
Wow. I have to admit I was kind of hoping for a Julie Andrews cameo, but I actually spoke to Emily Blunt, and she said that one of the reasons Julie Andrews was considering doing it, but she sort of felt like to show up as the other Mary Poppins or the quote-unquote real Mary Poppins like wouldn't be fair to Emily and would sort of distract people.
Oh, that sounds like the right reason.
Yeah. That's true.
But apparently she loves the movie, so.
Yeah, and it made sense for Dick Van Dyke to be there because he does that cameo in the first one, but he can't be playing the same guy. He has to be playing like the son who's grown up. I don't know. One of the bank guys. I need to see it again.
Well, we know Bert is still alive.
But
Jack
he's like traveling the world or something like that.
There's a throwaway line at the start where like, Bert's off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I thought maybe we'd see him toward the end.
He got tired of waiting around for Mary Poppins.
No, I think having the bank guy, is a better thing. Like, same deal, it was less distracting.
So wait, he does a cameo in the first one as a bank guy?
So in the original, Dick Van Dyke had a cameo as Mr. Dawes Senior. Mr. Dawes Sr. runs the bank. And then at the end, Mr. Dawes Jr., I think, is like, Dad died from laughing. It's fine.
And that's not Dick Van Dyke playing Mr. Dawes Jr. in the original.
Not in the original.
Okay.
No.
He's
Dawes Sr. So in this one, he's playing Dawes Jr. all grown up.
Got it.
If that's... Anyway, he's playing the old guy at the bank. It's a fun cameo.
What, 20 years later?
Oh, it has to be more than that, right? Because...
Well, it's set during the Depression.
Yeah, it's in the 30s. And the original was set like in the early 1900s. Like 19...
Don't make me do math
10s maybe. So yeah, maybe 20 years have passed. Anyway, the kids are cute. The kids are very sweet. Yeah. They are very different than what the Banks children were like. Mm-hmm. They're kind of the ones who were kind of being the adults trying to hold the parents together, which is way different than what the kids were like in the original.
Pixie Davies plays Annabelle Banks, and Nathaniel Salee is John Banks, and then Joel Dawson is Georgie, so the little one.
Yeah,
and that
they're
little
very
one,
cute.
Very good. It's always difficult to get the right kid actors for your roles, and they really did with this one. So that's just awesome.
So I want to talk about the biggest thing that I noticed. And this isn't a bad thing, it's just something I noticed, that every song in this film has an equivalent in the original, and they all fall in kind of the same place in the story. So the first song is Lovely London Sky, sung by Lin-Manuel Miranda. So that equivalent of that is?
I don't know.
Da, 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 Chim Chimney. Because that's what Bert sings at the very beginning, okay? And it's that very, like, something interesting's about to happen. I don't know, a little twinkle in his eye, right? Then, Lovely London Sky is Chim Chim Tree. Then there's a song, I think it's called like A Conversation, where Michael is like singing while he's like looking at the stuff from his dead wife, and that's
really sad.
It's very sad. And I would say that's like kind of a mashup between Perfect Nanny and The Life I Lead, at least where it falls in the story. The Life I Lead is Mr. Banks's at 6 p.m. I come home from work, or whatever it goes. Okay. Then there's Mary Poppins' first song, which is called. It's so good.
Love this whole number.
And it's called Can You Imagine That? And it's totally Spoonful of Sugar. Instead of cleaning up the bedroom, it's let's take a bath.
Yeah.
But obviously, since it's 2018, they go all out with it. Like they go in the bathtub, they're swimming under the ocean.
Dolphin.
They're swimming in an unrealistic way, kind of like how they do in like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which is kind of a neat thing. So yeah, so that, can you imagine that as like Spoonful of Sugar?
Might be my favorite number.
It's pretty great, and Emily Blunt sounds great on it. And it's gonna be a song that I teach kids. I could tell as soon as I ended, I was like, I'm gonna be teaching this song to kids for years. Then there's the whole sequence in the bowl, which is basically the whole Jolly Holiday sequence. You know, it's the first big magical adventure outing that they do with Mary Poppins. So there's Jolly Holiday and Supercalifragilistic, and in this, it's the Royal Dalton Music Hall.
Yes.
And a cover is not the book of a...
What a clever lyric. I can't believe that lyric's never been used before. The cover is not the book. It's put in a really good way. Yeah.
Then they have this song called The Place Where Lost Things Go, and that's definitely the Feed the Birds.
And I do not like Feed the Birds, so...
Okay. Well, it was Uncle Walt's favorite song.
I was going to say, yeah, he did love that
Uncle
song.
Walt's favorite song was Feed the Birds. But it's the same kind of thing. It's the ballad. It's the ballad with the lush theme that kind of like puts everything in perspective, you know? Then they have like around like the middle of the second act in both films, they're like, let's go see a wacky relative for some reason. So they do. And in the original, it's I Love to Laugh, and it's Edwin and them floating on the ceiling. And in this, it's Turning Turtle.
Is that what it's called?
Turning Turtle. She's like, I'm turning turtle every whatever it is. And the room is flipping upside down, which is kind of the similar.
That's Meryl Streep's one scene.
Turning Turtle, which
she'll probably win an Oscar for it.
Yeah. Oh God.
Well,
yeah, she's basically saying like every month she can't go outside.
Yeah, and her world gets turned upside down.
What does that sound like? Her period. It sounds like her period. I'm gonna call it Turning Turtle from now on.
Turning Turtle.
It's about time.
You wanna go swimming? I'm Turning Turtle right now. Out of it. Okay, so then Triple Little Life Fantastic is
second favorite song.
Yeah, that's I almost called him Bert. It's lin-manuel. What's his name?
Jack. Right?
Yeah. It's his big song, and it's basically Step-in Time. In Step-in Time in the original, it's all the chimney sweeps dancing on the rooftops of London, and in this, it's the lamplighters or the Learys all dancing around the streets of London. But the thing is, Step-in Time is basically step in time. There's no bridge. There's no like Triple Little Life Fantastic is intense and extensive, really, and it has a lot of lyrics and a lot of wordplay. Like they teach the kids how to speak Leary.
That's the one I think they're pushing for Oscar nominations.
Oh, it's pretty great, and it's a fantastic sequence, like with bikes and lamps, and it's crazy. And then at the end, they have a song called "Nowhere to Go But Up" with all these balloons, and that's basically "Let's Go Fly a Kite." So instead of kites, they're flying balloons, and and there's fewer songs in this. In Mary Poppins Returns than the original, because there's no Sister Suffragette equivalent, even though Jane is kind of she's like a what is she? She's like a protester.
She's a revolutionary.
Yeah, she
wears pants.
She would be in Cradle Will Rock. That was around the time when that was around the time when this was happening. But there's no she has no song where she's like cast off the shackles, and there's really no Stay Awake, which is almost like a song that barely exists in Mary Poppins anyway.
Yeah, I don't really like that song either.
So so it's kind of a neat thing to notice if you are very aware of the original. These songs kind of fall in the same place in the story.
Yeah.
I think the Meryl Streep one is the most noticeable, and the Royal Dalton Music Hall one. Yeah. But I don't think it takes away from it at all. It helps with like a roadmap, because the story itself is actually really different. It's there's a deadline, and there's stakes about losing the house.
The kids are much more active.
And the mom is dead, and Michael's mourning the mom, and there's. Which is very different than the original, which is just kind of getting their dad to notice them.
Yeah, but Disney likes dead moms.
They sure do. But it works in this one. It does. It's not just like a reason for Disney there to be nothing. There has to be a dead parent, because why would they need a nanny then?
Right. And also, she was the one who took care of the books and things.
Exactly. And it makes it so that he lost a lot of money, because of that, and they're going to lose the house. So I bought it. It wasn't just like Ariel's mom being dead for some reason.
Well, one of the things that's kind of interesting.
She's dead. Belle's mom dead. There's no reason. I mean, I don't know. We all just assume.
Aladdin doesn't have a mom.
He doesn't have. Yeah, and then his dad.
But in the original Mary Poppins, they did have a mom.
Yes,
they did.
So that was.
She was just busy with her suffragette thing.
For sure. I think one of the things to set the plot in motion is they need to find their shares in order to save the house, and I thought it was a really clever thing. I'm pretty sure that this was David McGee who wrote the screenplay. This might have been one of his machinations. It turned out to be on the kite. Literally.
Oh my god, you're gonna spoil it?
Spoilers!
But isn't that
even
what
though
this is?
when she
Well, yeah.
when she handed him the box or something, I was like, oh, he's gonna put it on the kite. Or when she handed him the picture, I kind of saw that coming.
But that's a reference, an obvious reference to the original film, and Let's Go Fly a Kite was one of the big songs. So it was kind of cool.
And it was the kite from the original.
It played a part in the story, like a very strong part in the plot, which I thought was cool. It was a nice little send up.
Yeah, yeah.
I assume if you're watching this, you've already seen it.
Yeah.
I hope you,
Spoilers.
go see it if you haven't seen it yet.
It won't ruin the film for you, though.
What else can we talk about? It's funny, I can already kind of see the haters. And I won't say that it's not, like, without flaws,
Sure.
I guess. But, they worked their asses off to really give a good product.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the best movie musicals we've had in a really long time. Like, genuinely good book. Not just like, oh, it's just a fun, silly, like, piece of fluff, like, whatever,
I feel like
Mamma
you're
Mia or something.
subtweeting, Greatest Showman a little here.
Am I? I think it's better. I think it's way better than The Greatest Showman.
Oh, yeah.
By far. Oh, by far it's better than The Greatest Showman.
Well,
Sorry, I think it is. Like, Greatest Showman is fun, but, like, this is an
Greatest Showman is really, really fun, but this is like...
This is an actual good film.
Yeah.
This will stand the test of time. And they made it timeless, which there's no modern, like, wackiness. There's no
references to the Macarena or something.
or like, it's really timeless. They still live next door to Admiral Boom, which is pretty great. They're still on Cherry Tree Lane, which is great. Like,
he fires the cannon every hour on the hour. Is that for real? Like,
yeah, do you remember the original?
But that's just not The Greatest Neighbor.
No, but that's a joke. And the climax in this film is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a totally different climax than the original film. Like,
It becomes an action movie.
the original film, it's quiet and Mr. Banks. It's Mr. Banks going to the bank and kind of stand. This is like, we're gonna climb. Spoiler. We're gonna climb Big Ben and we're gonna change the time and then we're gonna
That was so dangerous.
Oh, it was
Wow.
so dangerous. And, Jack and his Learys, they have so much agency and they're all part of it. Like, it's fantastic. And they keep the bittersweet thing. In fact, I think they lay it on even thicker in this one. That whole idea at the end that once everyone kind of is in a better place, Mary Poppins just kind of starts to be standing in the back and everyone's kind of talking to each other and she hangs back and, it's, and blunt during those scenes. You're just like, oh.
All I could think of was the David Pumpkin special. I don't know if you know that one. There's this...
No! Will we ever see you again?
No!
No! I love. What if her eye just started drifting?
Drifting the
like
way David Pumpkins is. Yeah, no, it's so great. It's this big long speech and like, and will we ever see you again? No!
One of my favorite things during the screening that we saw was Lin-Manuel was sitting right over to the left of us.
Oh, he loves this movie.
And I didn't look over at him the whole time.
No, I couldn't.
And then I finally did toward the end, and he was singing along, or he was at least lip syncing along. And we talked to him afterwards, and I had asked him if he had seen it before, and he said he only had seen it one time before, and he was thinking maybe he wouldn't see it this time, but he wanted to watch it with his niece.
Yeah.
He's like, it's Mary Poppins, I love this movie.
Yeah, he's like, it's his
I'm gonna
first-
watch it with
Yeah.
my, and of course he ducked out a little early to right when the credits started to roll, so he could do the talk back. But I mean, how great is that when obviously he's an icon already, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's a part of this amazing film, but he's also a fan.
Yeah.
He cares
He's
that
just
much.
so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. And it shows for sure in the performance.
Yeah, so
Really.
it's great for kids. It's great for families. I think you can see it at any age and you'll enjoy it, especially if you loved the original.
From 1 to 92. If you're 93, screw you.
Dick Van Dyke? Oh no.
No, not Dick!
He just turned
Not
93.
Penis
Now
Van
he's too old.
Lesbian or whatever it was.
We aged out of of loving Mary Poppins.
Damn it.
It was bound to happen.
No, he's still like tap dancing to you guys. It's adorable. He's so amazing.
Yeah, he is a miracle. Again, like I like the first movie, but I'm not obsessed with it. And you know, I've worked for Disney a lot, and I've seen it's been on a lot, and I've caught pieces of it here and there. But I might have only ever watched it one time all the way through.
Yeah.
But I've seen lots of bits and pieces of it. But I never thought of, like, you were just asking, what's this song title? And I'm like, I have no idea. You know, the only one I can think of is Spoonful of Sugar.
For most people, it's like The Wizard of Oz. It's one of those movies that you grew up with as a child. So not only do people know it really well, they have an intense connection to it. And I gotta say, it's one of those films where like you don't see it for a while and you're like, oh, Mary Poppins, okay, I liked it when I was a kid. And then you watch it and then you're like, wow, this still holds up. There's still a lot of really good stuff in this movie, and that's, again, timeless. And that's why I think this film is going to stand the test of time as well. I hope they never adapt it for the stage.
But the reason why I bring that up is because going into this, although I do like the Mary Poppins original film, I'm not obsessed with it. It's not a huge part of my life. You know, it wasn't like live or die going in there to see this film. So I didn't have high expectations necessarily, but I just loved the film. From the first second, I was like a kid watching a film, just from the beginning.
There's like a credits
to the end.
Overture.
It was amazing.
You know, there's like an overture.
A very classic feel.
And like you said, when she comes down and the music swells, it happened in the trailer. Like all of us just went, you know, because it gets you right in the sweet spot, you know, the heart. And I think you were saying this, like a lot of people are saying that this film feels like a balm right now.
A salve for the soul.
Yes, and it feels like just a good, earnest, happy but not cheesy a musical.
I do think the most subversive thing you can kind of do in movies today is to do something that is earnest and sweet and charming.
Yeah, it's harder.
Yeah,
it's harder
it is. It's so hard today.
To not roll your eye and
because
not
that's
like
the easy way out. That's the easy joke.
It would have been easier for them to just go, okay, let's just do Jolly Holiday again, or let's just do another verse of. Let's do a song that's basically supercalifragilistic and we'll come up with another nonsense word.
Or let's do Mary
something.
Poppins in the modern age and the kids are like over it and
or make an opinion
on that idea.
Right. No, exactly. That would be the easy way out. But
there's already that, and it's the Simpsons episode.
You're
with
right, Sherry Bobbins.
Yeah.
The Simpsons did it.
Jukebox.
But that goes back to the production. Also, another thing that Lin-Manuel Miranda said and Emily Blunt said during the talkback is they had 8 weeks rehearsal before, which is so rare on any film production. But like because they had to learn that dance, that song that they did.
And Rob Marshall,
Triple Little Light, fantastic, and Cover Is Not the Book. Those two sequences are incredibly choreographed.
There's no way that you could do that without massive amounts of choreography, and that's a testament to the producers for making that happen. And it also created a camaraderie between Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel Miranda that wouldn't have been there otherwise.
And she already has shorthand with Rob Marshall because of Into the Woods, so they already have a connection.
And she was obsessed with Hamilton, she told us.
Yes, who wasn't?
Well,
she didn't know what a Hamel drop was. So we got to watch Lin-Manuel Miranda telling Emily Blunt, and she's just sitting there like, oh. And then he mentioned that Sarah Bareilles dropped a song, and then we were watching Emily Blunt like fangirl out over Sarah Bareilles. Like it was pretty great.
There was a lot of cool things happening that night for sure.
Yeah, and they were incredibly gracious, sweet people, and they did not have to be.
I don't always do this, but I asked for a picture with us with Lin-Manuel, and he knew that if he opened that door, so many people would want pictures.
Flock him.
So he took my phone, and on the slide took a selfie of the three of us. It was pretty rad.
Pretty rad.
So thanks again for that, pal.
Yeah. So we loved it. We can't say enough good things about it. I really recommend you see it. Watch the original if you haven't seen it in a while. But you know what? You don't have to. If you kind of just have a vague memory from childhood, you'll still get it. You'll still remember the important stuff. You'll remember the Banks children, and you'll see Admiral Boom and go, oh yeah, that guy. I remember that guy.
I hated that guy.
Yeah. He's always doing that thing. So I think you'll really enjoy it.
Worse than a barking dog is the neighbor that fires a cannon every hour.
Yeah, we have a barking dog cannon.
Wait, you go with cannon that shoots barking dogs?
It sounds like it.
That's a whole other
barking dog's mouth, and it shoots bees and the bees.
Not the bees.
Any other?
I was just going to say, Julie Andrews won the Academy Award for playing Mary Poppins.
She sure did.
And I would not be surprised if Emily Blunt also wins the Academy Award.
That would be some nice symmetry there.
Well, the story with Julie Andrews winning that is that she was. It was the same year as My Fair Lady.
Was it?
And My Fair Lady, they cast a lot of the original actors like Rex Harrison, but they did not cast Julie Andrews because she wasn't a name yet. So they went with, what's her face? Audrey Hepburn. And so then Disney was like, oh, okay, well, do you want to do this Mary Poppins film? And she was like, okay. And so it was her film debut. And so then that year...
Mary Poppins was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought Sound of Music came first.
Mm-mm. So Julie Andrews' biggest credit at the time besides Broadway was she was in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, which was on TV. If you can read the biography Something Wonderful about Rodgers and Hammerstein, do it, because they talk about how that Cinderella was one of the most watched things ever. It was 12 Super Bowls all at once. It was because it was so early in the history of TV. Rodgers and Hammerstein were so incredibly popular. I don't even think any modern musical theater composer comes close. Maybe Andrew Lloyd Webber, maybe, but they were so anyway.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes. So she had that to her name, and so then they asked her to do Mary Poppins. So then she's up against Audrey Hepburn at the Academy Awards for My Fair Lady for the role that she originated on Broadway, and then she beat Audrey Hepburn, and she won for Mary Poppins. So you always cast Julie Andrews. Anyway, I don't think Emily Blunt will be in a similar situation, but she has to be nominated, right?
I think she can win.
Yeah.
I think she can win too.
Has she been nominated before?
Yeah.
No, never for an Oscar.
No.
For
Wait,
Golden
really?
Globes. Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? And she just last week got 2 SAG Award nominations for Mary Poppins and Quiet Place.
Wow.
So she is
big
beloved.
Year. Yeah, she's amazing. Her career trajectory is going like this.
I mean, her career was already
I guess
going pretty great, but this kind of, I don't know. This is so dorky, but I told her, I was like, I don't know you obviously, but I'm so proud of you. And I am. I'm so proud of her because she's so talented and
she was
she's
so
game,
good in Into the Woods.
And she's fun and funny. And she's just, she played my favorite part in Into the Woods. How can I not be
And what was it? Live, Die, Repeat. They changed the name of that film.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. It's a great movie.
It's she's an action star in that movie, and then she can just turn around and do this. Yeah.
She can do it
She's amazing.
Emily Blunt.
Don't mess with her.
And lin-manuel. He's gonna be. He's already the biggest thing in the world right now, but I feel like he's gonna be in a lot more stuff now.
And I'm okay with that.
I am. Mwah!
The cream.
Give it more. Give me more Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we've.
Yes.
Do we sign off with our Cockney accents?
Yeah. Well, thank you all for watching our review of Mary Poppins.
Governor.
Mary
Bob's your uncle. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Have a great holidays, everybody.
Fantastic with me.
Yeah. If you've already seen Mary Poppins, I hope you have since you're watching this.
I hope you. Yeah.
Go out and watch it again. I'm going to.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Definitely.
Cheers.
All right. Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Happy Christmas.